I heard the front door close. The dull click of the lock pulled me out of my half-sleep, and I sat up sharply in bed. The house was dark, with only the street lamp outside casting thin stripes of light on the wall. I listened. Silence. No footsteps. No rustling. I glanced at my phone. 2:17 a.m. I had been waiting for her since 10. The blanket was cold on my side of the bed. Kori hadn't lain down. I swung my legs over the edge of the bed and listened again. Downstairs, the sound of running water. She was washing her hands. Or maybe scrubbing someone else's sin off her skin. I stood up and walked to the hallway. The bathroom light spilled onto the wall, casting shifting shadows as Kori cupped her hands under the water and ran them over her face. I stopped at the door. Where were you? She didn't flinch, didn't look surprised or startled. She simply turned off the water, slowly dried her hands with a towel, and faced me. What? I've been waiting for you for 4 hours, Kori. Where were you? She stretched lazily, as if this conversation already exhausted her. You know, at Maddie's. I crossed my arms. Maddie posted a photo on Instagram 3 hours ago. Home. Alone. For a second, her face went blank. Then she blinked and shook her head. You're stalking my friend now? I just asked a question. Oh my God, Jim. You're starting again? She rolled her eyes and brushed past me into the living room. I followed. No, Kori, you're starting again. She dropped her bag onto the couch and sighed, closing her eyes like I was keeping her from unwinding after a long day. Are you seriously making a scene at 3 in the morning? I seriously want to know where my wife has been. Kori folded her arms, her gaze challenging. Do you not trust me? I let out a short laugh, but there was nothing amused about it. Trust doesn't require lies, Kori. Her lips pressed together. Then she tilted her head slightly, studying me. You really want the truth? I frowned. Of course. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. All right. I was with someone. A hot wave slammed into my chest. With who? Does it matter? To me? Yeah. She looked me straight in the eye. You know what's funny, Jim? If I told you I was at Maddie's, you wouldn't believe me. If I tell you I was with a man, you won't believe that either. I said nothing. So why should I bother saying anything at all? The air in the room felt heavier. I took a step closer, searching her face. I can smell it. She didn't look away. Smell what? Someone else's cologne? Kori smirked slightly. Or maybe your nose is playing tricks on you? I frowned. You wiped off your lipstick. She ran her fingers slowly across her lower lip. Maybe I was just tired? I clenched my fists. Who is he, Kori? She shrugged again. If you're so sure, why are you asking? Something twisted inside me. So I'm right? She didn't answer right away. Then, slowly, almost lazily, she nodded. And if you are? My teeth clenched. You're not even going to deny it? To who? You? She stepped closer, her face inches from mine. Do you want the truth? Or do you just enjoy doubting me? I didn't move. Kori. She tilted her head, watching me. If I told you the truth, what would you do? I stared at her, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. I'd leave. She nodded. Exactly. We stood inches apart. She was waiting for me to break. I didn't move. Then Kori picked up her bag and calmly walked toward the stairs. Go to sleep, Jim. I stood frozen until I heard the bedroom door close. There was a lump in my throat. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The coffee was bitter on my tongue. I sat in the kitchen, staring at the dark liquid in my cup, unable to force myself to take another sip. One thought pulsed through my mind. She lied. Kori came downstairs as if nothing had happened. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, the light scent of coconut shampoo trailing behind her. She looked fresh, like our late-night conversation hadn't mattered at all. Good morning, she said, stretching as she walked past me to the coffee maker. I didn't respond. You didn't sleep? A little. She turned on the machine while I watched her movements. Every action was painfully familiar, but now, something about them felt fake. You working today? She asked, as if we were just a normal happy couple. Yeah. Great. I'm meeting up with Maddie. I looked at her. Really? She raised an eyebrow. Yeah. Why not? I didn't answer. She turned to me, crossing her arms. All right, Jim. Let's just get this out of the way. If you're gonna sit there and play your little icier lies game, just say what's on your mind. My jaw tightened. You already know. She rolled her eyes. You're doing this again. The coffee maker beeped. She grabbed her cup, took a sip, watching me. I'm meeting Maddie. Want me to text her right now? I exhaled slowly. No need. She shrugged, leaned in, and kissed my cheek. A gesture that felt almost mocking, then headed for the door. Don't miss me too much. I watched her leave, and inside, something was cracking. I had to do something. At lunch, I decided to text Maddie. Hey, Kori said you two are meeting up today? The reply came fast. What? No. I'm working late tonight. A wave of heat rushed through me. What about yesterday? Did you see her? A long pause. No, why? I stared at the screen, trying to process it. She wasn't even trying to be careful. I didn't reply. My fingers curled tightly around my phone. You good? Mark, my coworker, asked. I looked up. Yeah, just thinking. He nodded. You look like hell. Thanks. I opened her Instagram. Clean. No new photos. No tags. Her phone? Clean. Her bag? Nothing suspicious. She was covering her tracks. I leaned back in my chair. Innocent people don't do that. That evening, Kori was running late. How much longer? I texted as I dialed her number. She answered immediately. Another hour, she said casually. Maddie and I decided to have a glass of wine. She didn't even know I had already checked. I didn't call her out on it. All right, I said calmly. Really? No, where have you been? Interrogation. Just relax. Look at you, all understanding, she chuckled. I'll be back by 10. She hung up, but at 10, she wasn't home. At 10:30, still nothing. I got in my car and started driving. I didn't know exactly where I was going, but something inside me said I needed to move. And then I saw her car. It was parked outside a small, dimly lit building on the outskirts of town. Not a restaurant, not an office, not a bar. I turned off my engine and watched. Kori stood near the entrance, glancing around nervously. She was waiting. For who? A few minutes later, the door opened. A man. I couldn't see his face, but he walked straight to her. Kori took a step forward. They didn't hug. They didn't hold hands. But something in their body language felt too familiar. He said something. She laughed. A coldness spread through me. I had to know who he was. I opened my car door. Took a step forward. Stopped. A deep breath. Just one more step. But I had no idea what was waiting for me on the other side. I stood in the dark, watching them. The parking lot was nearly empty, the rare glow of streetlights casting long shadows over the cracked asphalt. The air smelled like salt and something else, maybe the night chill, maybe the stench of rotten lies. Kori and him stood near the entrance of a small, dimly lit building with no signs, no markings. A hotel? An office? Some place she had no damn reason to be. I couldn't see their faces, but their body language spoke louder than words. She stood too close. He stood too confidently. They spoke quietly, but even without hearing the words, I knew. My stomach twisted. My fingers clenched into fists. What now? I should have left. Just turned around, driven away, buried this deep inside. But something kept me frozen in place. I already knew the answer. I felt it in every inch of my body. I just needed to see it. I moved forward, keeping my steps light. The building looked strange, bare, no unnecessary details, just glass doors and a faint blinking light inside. It wasn't a bar. It wasn't a restaurant. Not an office. What the hell is this place? They didn't notice me. Kori kept glancing around, restless, nervous. I listened. It's too risky. Her voice trembled. He won't find out, he said, calm. Boom. A punch to the chest. I froze, hearing nothing but the blood roaring in my ears. He won't find out. So they discussed this before. He knew about me. They talked about me. How convenient. I took another step until I was at the glass doors. Kori said something, but her voice drowned under the hollow echo of my thoughts. I don't remember pushing the door open. I only remember their faces, frozen in shock as I walked in. Kori flinched. Her eyes widened, lips parting, but no words came out. The man turned toward me, but his expression was different. No fear, no panic, calm, like he had been expecting this. I stopped. The room smelled like coffee, dust, and something foreign. "Jim," Kori finally breathed out. I looked at her. Her dress was creased like she had been sitting for too long. Her hair was slightly disheveled. Her lipstick was wiped off, but not the way it would have been from a wine glass. I saw all of it, and I felt sick. "You lied." She blinked, as if I was speaking a language she didn't understand. "This isn't what it looks like." I exhaled slowly, feeling something cold settle deep inside my chest. "Oh yeah? Then remind me, what do I think I'm seeing?" Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I shifted my gaze to him. He was taller than me. Short dark hair, clean-shaven, wearing an expensive button-down, wrinkled, like it had been hastily tucked into his jeans. He studied me, not with fear, but curiosity, amusement. "Well," he said, voice rough, self-assured, "since you're already here, let's talk." A chill ran down my spine. My teeth clenched. "Who the hell are you?" He tilted his head. "And who are you to ask?" I stepped closer. "I'm her husband." He nodded. "Well, you were." I hit him before I even processed the movement. Kori gasped. He staggered back, grabbing his lip, blood dripping between his fingers. But he just smirked. "Now we're getting somewhere." "How long?" I exhaled. Kori's hands clutched together, like she was suddenly cold. "Jim, how long?" The man wiped his lip. "For months." Kori flinched. I stared at him. "What did you just say?" He shrugged. "For months. Started off as something casual, then more often. Then she started lying to you." "Shut up," Kori snapped. He grinned. "Isn't that right?" She turned away sharply. Something inside me tore. "So it's true." "Jim, all of it. True." She swallowed hard. I looked back at him. "What makes you so damn sure?" That smirk returned. "Because I was there when you weren't looking." Boom. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. I couldn't be here anymore. "Jim, wait," Kori started. I raised a hand. "Don't." She fell silent. I turned to him. "I hope it was worth it." His smirk deepened. "Oh, definitely." My fists clenched again. "But fight? For what?" I took a step back. "You're both garbage." Kori stepped toward me. "Jim, please." I looked at her one last time. "No, I'm done waiting." And I walked out. The night air hit my face like ice. I heard her voice behind me. "Jim." But I didn't turn around. Step, step, hand on the car door. The rustling wind, the distant hum of traffic. There was no going back. I slid into the driver's seat, started the engine, looked at the hotel one last time, and drove away. I woke up to silence. A silence so deep, so suffocating, it felt like something was lurking within it. I opened my eyes. The room felt foreign. Everything was where it had always been. My things, books on the shelf, the clothes I had tossed onto the chair the night before. The same as always. But the world was no longer the same. I sat up, gripping the sheets. Yesterday, I saw her with him. I heard him say it had been going on for 4 months. I felt something inside me crack, shatter, die. I remembered walking out of that goddamn place, getting into my car, driving through the city as Kori called me over and over again. I never picked up. Now, my phone sat on the nightstand, screen cracked. I didn't even remember throwing it. But now, I was no longer the man I was yesterday. The emptiness inside was slowly being filled. With rage. With resolve. I couldn't just let this go. I got up, walked into the bathroom, turned on the faucet, and splashed ice-cold water on my face. Then, I grabbed my phone and typed, "Best divorce lawyer in San Diego." A few minutes later, I had a number. A call. Ringing. "David Marshall's office. How can I help you?" "I need a divorce. Fast. And ruthless." A brief pause on the other end. "All right. Can you come in today?" I looked at myself in the mirror. There wasn't a single trace of hesitation in my eyes. "Yes." I already knew what I wanted. I wanted her to walk away with nothing. Before heading out, I made another call. To my brother, Tom. He had always been the one I could count on, the one who had my back. The line rang a few times before he answered, his voice groggy. Dude, do you know what time it is? I need to talk. He sighed. This about Kori? I froze. What? There was a hesitation on the other end. Jim, listen, The world shrank to a single point. You knew. It's not that simple. You knew. Silence. I tried to. My grip on the phone tightened until my knuckles turned white. How long? Jim, let's meet. I'll explain. How long? A long pause. Almost from the beginning. The air in my lungs turned to cement. Tom knew. My own brother knew. I swallowed hard, fighting the urge to smash the phone. Why didn't you tell me? Jesus, Jim, because I knew how you'd react. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Seriously? You thought it was better for me to live in the dark? I was trying to. You betrayed me. Silence. I took a slow breath. Don't ever call me again. And I hung up. David Marshall's office was in a high-rise with floor-to-ceiling windows. The lawyer, a tall, lean man with sharp eyes and glasses, shook my hand firmly. How can I help? I sat down, spine straight. Divorce. And I want to take everything I can. He nodded. Do you have proof of infidelity? I smirked. Plenty. Financial ties? Joint accounts? I frowned. You think she might have been moving money? He steepled his fingers. If she went to such lengths to hide an affair, she might have hidden money too. Freaking Kori. I'll check, I said. One more thing, Marshall added. If you want to hit the hardest, gather everything before she realizes what's coming. My jaw clenched. I already started. When I got home, Kori was waiting for me. Jim, please, can we talk? I looked down at her. You have nothing to say to me. She lifted her hands, desperate. It's not like that. I made a mistake, but that doesn't mean it's over. I stepped closer. You lost. She flinched. What? I smirked. You lost, Kori. The color drained from her face. You're not seriously. Jim, it was just a moment of weakness. I locked eyes with her. I'm going to destroy your world. Kori took a step back. You're scaring me. Good. Be scared. I brushed past her, leaving her standing there in the house that no longer belonged to us. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, pulled up the bank statements, started digging. Photos, messages, dates. I had a mission now, and nothing was going to stop me. I woke up to silence. Not the kind that suffocates. Not the kind that fills a room when someone is near, but you know they're no longer yours. No, this was a different kind of silence. The silence of an empty house, where her scent no longer lingered, where her things were gone, where her voice didn't echo through the rooms. I sat up, running a hand down my face. Yesterday, it ended. The divorce was finalized. Her belongings were packed and taken. The joint accounts were split. The house was mine. And yet, as I looked around, the same walls, the same furniture, the same things unchanged, something stirred inside me. I had one. So why didn't it feel like a victory? I got up and walked to the kitchen. A cup of coffee, the hum of the fridge, the steady rhythm of an empty space. Somewhere inside me, there was an emptiness. But I knew this emptiness was better than lies, than betrayal, than the months of pain I had lived through. I finished my coffee, and then I went to meet Kori. She was waiting for me at a cafe. The cafe, the same one where we used to sit for hours, talking about nothing, laughing like we had all the time in the world. Now, I looked at her and felt nothing. She didn't look broken. She didn't look happy. She just looked like Kori. So that's it, she said, turning her coffee cup in her hands. I stayed silent. She smiled, but it wasn't real. Are you satisfied? I met her gaze. No. She bit her lip. I don't want you to remember me like this. How should I remember you? She sighed, running a hand through her hair, then glanced away, as if searching for the answer in the cafe walls. I ruined everything, she finally said. I didn't reply. But we loved each other, Jim. I tilted my head slightly, studying her. No, Kori. I loved you. She stilled. I set my cup down with a quiet clink. You made your choice. I made mine. It's over now. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the table. If I could turn back time. I leaned in slightly. But you can't. She swallowed hard. I leaned back. And I don't want to hear you anymore. Kori opened her mouth, then shut it. I didn't wait. I just stood up and walked away. At home, my phone vibrated. Her number. I stared at the screen, then pressed delete contact. The phone rang again. I blocked her, and then I sat down on the couch. My gaze drifted to the suitcase by the door. I had packed it last night. One suitcase. Only the essentials. The plane ticket for the morning flight lay beside it. I knew I was leaving, but the past hadn't let me go yet. I stepped out onto the balcony, breathing in the night air. The city moved on. Cars rushing down the highway, a distant siren wailing, life continuing without hesitation. Life moved forward. And now, so would I. I looked at the suitcase. All that was left to do was zip it up and walk away. I ran my fingers over the zipper, closing it slowly. Then, I lifted the suitcase and walked out the door. The cold air brushed against my face. Ahead was the unknown, but I was ready.